think I know what's going to happen.
Thank you.
Make their own
We all good?
I think we're ready.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. It is August 29th. It is your school committee meeting. May I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. I'd like to open up with comments from the public, if there are any. Seeing none, I will move forward. Dr. Hallett, you're on.
Okay. So, all right, just have to get my right notes here. Hold on. There we go. All right, so I'm going to start with enrollment. I wanted to just share with you that we still do not have an updated enrollment report for you tonight. We have just completed our school year rollover and schedules with each school, so we are, we haven't actually opened doors yet to students, but we promise that in our next full meeting we will share enrollment. We do know that it is upwards of 1,700 students, so we will be starting in a good place.
Wow.
Giving a hiring update. This is a great opportunity to share all the things that our staff have and our administrators have been doing in the last 2 weeks in a pretty fervent push to the end. First, I want to welcome 3 new administrators and 1 in training who might be here tonight. So first of all, Melissa Devitt is our new Director of Curriculum. We're very happy to have her here. Curriculum for Humanities. Barbara Cohen, our new Director of English Learner Education. Michelle, I always say Cadavid, but I guess it's Cadavid.
That's beautiful.
Yes. She is our Coordinator for Special Education. And Eddie Wilkin is our new NIS Assistant Principal Admin Intern. So these individuals have rolled up their sleeves this summer and dug into the work for hiring new staff, planning PD, assisting with scheduling, and a myriad of other responsibilities in the 2 short weeks that they've been officially on the job. So I thank them so much and am thrilled to have them as part of the district leadership team. They've contributed such great, fresh ideas and opinions to our district improvement planning and other important system-wide initiatives. So thank you all for being part of the team and making us whole. One other great piece of news I wanted to share is that we have hired Elida Tejada, a longtime custodial staff member at NES, as the next NES building supervisor. Yes, very exciting. Chip Clooney and the NES admin team are very confident, as am I, that Elida will do a spectacular job continuing the good work and keeping NES in tip-top shape. As for teacher positions, I am proud to say that we are currently fully staffed at this point with some adjustments, so I will share what that's all about. At NES, we have filled all of our open teacher positions, so we're very pleased to have that. At NIS, we had a very late resignation to the 5th grade, but the administrators in the building have successfully rescheduled students into existing 5th grade classes. This will push the numbers up a little bit, so approximately 23 to 24 students per class. That's still manageable, but we want to make sure that the 5th grade feels that they are strongly supported. So we have been able to hire, or are in the process of hiring, a floating support teacher who will push into existing classes, provide additional assistance for students such as our Ls, and as well as continue working with the music classroom with our orchestra program, because the person that we have in mind to hire is a certified music teacher. So, yes, so it's exactly, it's fantastic. It's a win-win. At CPS, we have really struggled this year to fill positions, but with the decline in our student enrollment at this school and several supplementary staff, we've been able to redistribute students to keep our class sizes manageable. So the only challenge for this year has been that we have not been able to offer more specialist choices for middle schoolers, which is really a time when we want to be able to offer more. But they do still have options, and help me and correct me, middle school, if I'm wrong. Art, music, and music tech, band, Latin, creative writing, wellness, and digital literacy. Am I correct?
No digital literacy.
Thank you. reading.
And there's chorus.
Thank you, chorus. Okay, I missed that.
There's a reading book club that the librarians are doing.
Thank you.
Not visual literacy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we know that our students will have their encore choices, but we hope to be able to potentially hire a Project Lead the Way teacher mid-year, as we have a lead on someone who might be interested in joining us in December.
Percussion too. Are you forgetting something else? You say percussion?
I said band, but
Band and percussion,
two different separate things. So. At the high school, all positions have been filled. We are currently in the process of hiring an additional teacher as a student support center coordinator to provide additional social and emotional support for our high school students. As part of the high school shift in being able to fill all of the positions, we did create a bit of a change with our personal finance, which currently resides in the math department, but we are moving it to the social studies department. And this is also after the State Board of Education has made a recommendation for this move to consider it as a graduation requirement in economics. So personal finance kind of falls under social sciences as opposed to math. So we will be looking to make some of those changes officially once we know more from the state, and this could be a policy change, so we'll bring it to the committee for review and approval. So currently we have some additional, we have folks in our social studies department who will be picking that up. So we have 3 teachers who will be doing that. And if I have high school staff here, you're welcome to correct me if I'm incorrect in saying that. I'm okay, thanks. Things are moving so quickly. It's like every day there's a little bit of news and who's gonna do this and how's that gonna happen. Where we are still lacking is in our teaching assistant positions. So we are hoping so much that people will be watching tonight and perhaps let us know if they have any leads in sharing potential candidates who might be interested. At NES, we're looking to fill 10 positions. Some of those are part-time as a 0.7 or a 0.8 position that might fall into our pre-K program. We're looking at NIS for 3 positions and CPS 1 position, and finally the high school 4 positions. So it is a difficult position to fill. We recognize the need for a massive contract change in looking carefully at compensation, but also at other pieces of the contract for our TAs. Next year we will be negotiating. When I say next year, I mean in a few weeks. We'll start the negotiation process for that, and I look forward to having Pauline and Laura as part of our negotiations team for TAs. So we'll be working with them to find an appropriate contract and making sure that that they are in a position that can be where they're valued. So
Good.
Yes. I wanted to give a little update on the new NPS employee handbook. We are putting the final edits on this document. It is a Nantucket Public Schools employee handbook, which we have not had, certainly not in my tenure here, but I believe it has been quite a few years since there has been an official handbook. We hope to have this document reviewed by legal counsel, as it does bring in policies and certain procedures that do have legal significance. So around things like workers' compensation and FMLA and certain policies and discipline. So we want to make sure that it is appropriate. This comprehensive document has been in the works since the fall. We learned that we needed to revive this document because it became a recommendation from our civil rights tiered focus monitoring audit. So we wanted to make sure that we got right on that and began the creation of this document. So we pulled together a handbook committee made up of administrators, teachers, and ESPs who worked together to draft the document from scratch. It will be shared with staff as a resource, but we will encourage staff to review in detail since it really does outline very important information for them around the regulations, the expectations, the recommendations of them as staff members. So I hope to be able to share it with you for review and approval at our next full school committee meeting, or perhaps the one after, based on how quickly we can get things through the legal system. So, and that's it. And then a few more things around opening week. So On Friday, we welcomed over 30 new staff members to the Nantucket Public Schools during our new staff orientation day. There were so many activities planned during this day. It was really a very well thought out plan. There were introductions to all of our district leadership team, get to know you activities, a campus scavenger hunt where the new teachers were tasked to go to different offices in different locations and complete tasks such as putting together a matching game of positions and responsibilities in the central office, for example. And there were other things that they did as well. And so this was a great opportunity for them to get to know the campus, but also to get to know the faces, as it's difficult in your first day to remember who's who and where they are and what their role is. So that was helpful. We also had in the afternoon, or actually no, right before lunch, we had a stations, which we called kind of how do I do this, how do I? And each station had representatives to share and really work one-on-one with teachers around human resources if they had documents to share with Eileen. Things around facilities, how to get your key card, your parking space, how to make a request for a facilities repair, curriculum, and how to request professional development. We're doing a professional development approval form or things like that. Tech in getting all the computers and the accounts and logins up and running, and then probably one of my favorite tables, tips and tricks on living on Nantucket with Mr. Lombardi and Mr. Horton, who did a great job in sharing all of the ins and outs. So,
That's a great idea.
yeah, it was great. It was really wonderful. We had a fabulous lunch provided by Marita Scarlett's husband, caterer on the island. He did a really nice job. And then a nice bus tour of the island in the rain, but still very nice, where the newbies were brought into different locations on the island. I believe that they did actually get to Sankaty in the big bus. So
Nice.
there was a little bit of maneuvering here and there, but that was enjoyable. And then finally, a nice social gathering at Cisco Brewery in the rain. But it was really, really nice, and it was great to have that camaraderie and see the new teachers coming together and bonding. So, yesterday we welcomed all of our staff for a great opening day convening. It was just great to have everyone back, as this is what we do. We work with staff and we work with students. So our first step is having our staff back, and it feels like at least your immediate family is complete. Then after that, when the students come, we will have that true feeling of completion. So we had a very charismatic keynote speaker, Jim Witchman, who is a principal from the Des Moines area in Iowa. Many years of experience in staff coaching and motivational speaking. And he really reminded us of the importance of the why. Why are we educators? Why are we in this role? And certain areas that we need to embrace and be okay with and center ourselves with. So he talked about the shatter, which is when understanding that people have situations that have shattered them, and that happens daily, if not, more often. He talked about the shake and the importance of shaking your world every time you go by someone and shaking their world. Centering and the importance of knowing your center and your circle. And that is important around family, friends, people who make you who you are. And support and stability, which is providing places, spaces for people to reach out and get the support that they need. We had a lot of fun, some great laughs. I think Chair Pauline Proch had a good time as well. And we made some really good connections. So I was pleased to see our staff smiling and enjoying the day. We have had PD activities go on since then. Today in particular, we had some really great opportunities offered to our high school, our elementary, and our intermediate school, and CPS. I visited a deep dive into restorative justice at the high school and found that this is a really interesting way of approaching discipline, not necessarily discipline with regard to consequences, but how to really build relationships so that students are more aware of the actions that they have, the consequences of their actions, and that was really interesting. This is an ongoing work at the high school this year, and I think that the high school teachers embraced it and are ready to keep moving with it. It was just the beginning, so there is a lot more that needs to be done, and in a conversation with another administrator earlier, we realized that one of the most important things is making sure that restorative practices are integrated in the classroom, in the content, because that has to be part of the work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can I just ask you a
Please.
question? Is there a consideration to bring that into the middle school as well? Once
So
high school's done?
the middle school is going through their own program called Responsive Classroom, which is what we have at the elementary and the intermediate schools. So as a continuance, we are doing 2 full days, and it's going to be a full 4 days across the year of responsive classrooms. So that connection to middle school is going to set up our students in the 5th grade going into 6th grade with some of the same routines and the same expectations moving into middle school, with a different twist, because it is middle school, and middle school is quite different from elementary school. But the fact that our elementary students from K to 5 really know responsive classroom, and when they get to the middle school, they have that same continuity, then that's going to be really helpful. And so I know that the middle school administrators and their staff are excited to see this come to fruition and learn a lot about responsive classrooms. So I'm sure that the practices that we learned about today in restorative justice are some similar pieces. One thing in particular that we talked a lot about was restorative circles. That's very reminiscent of what you see at the elementary level with circles, morning meeting circles, things like that. So I think all of those pieces are really important. So I also had the pleasure of visiting NES today, as they were really digging deeply into their new elementary math curriculum reveal, which was happening at NES today. So tomorrow they are doing the same with Allison Mello, who you've seen. She came to present to us last year, and also a trainer from the publisher from Reveal. So I think that the teachers are feeling confident in having the support of Allison and of the publishing company and the representative from there to understand the materials well, so they have a good start, particularly in the first 20 days while they are really getting comfortable with the new materials. So there's still plenty to learn, and it takes time. I mean, it's not something that you instantly know how to use. So there's a lot that still needs to happen. But again, everyone is in it together, and I know the administrators and Allison and other folks are there to support. So that is important. Still lots and lots are planned in the remainder of the week, and I'm looking forward to the next few days. So that's all for now. It's a long report.
Any questions?
No questions.
I feel like you're so far down there now that we've moved to tables. No questions?
No, thank you.
All right. Tim? Okay, thank you. We have, I probably wasn't at that meeting, we have welcome Becky and Chip, right, in their new positions?
Becky and Chip, I did
Yeah.
welcome in July 18th, but we're also glad that they are here again today.
I just want to give you a clap. Welcome. That's great. Thank you, Beth.
Sure.
All right, so we are going to move on to school committee goals. We had met in a retreat session a few weeks ago, and this is one of the areas that we looked at. We agreed with Dr. Hallett that we would focus on particular goals for this year, and we want to make sure that they are in line with the school improvement plan, superintendent's goals, principal goals, and then our teacher goals. So they're up here. Thank you, Jen. If you will save me from reading what's up here. The strong instructional leadership and effective instruction is goal number 1. And you will see the areas that we will be looking at, and then also the evidence what we've asked Dr. Hallett to do for the upcoming school year is when we are presented with presentations and discussions that we can make sure that they are in line with our goals, and that on the agenda it is printed what goal it is in line with, so that you all can see the work that the district is doing, but also for us to understand through the presentation of the work that's being done and where it aligns with individual goals. Did I say that clear enough? Okay. Okay, and then going on to goal number 2, we have effective district and school leadership. We felt we had a lot of discussion around which items we were going to really focus on this year. And again, in line with the work that's already being done in the district, we wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. If you move down to goal 3, you'll see access and equity. We want to continue with that as a focus. And then also the educational continuity and student participation. And then underneath that, you will see the partnerships and services to support learning. Going down to under where goal 4 is, staff recruitment and selection and assignment. And that is the area that we will, as a school committee, be focused on. Not to say that we're not looking at the other part of our goals, but this is really where our work will be for this year. Does anybody want to add anything to our discussion that we had?
No, other than we did go through all of the goals and really determine which ones we wanted to focus on, so that we could be strategic in what we were looking at, so.
Right.
If I may, through the
Yes,
chair.
please.
I won't say things are out of order because everything happens all at the same time anyway, but you will be seeing in future school committee meetings that we will be presenting our district improvement plan draft and our district strategy, and we hope that we can see that direct alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So having been the one working on that district improvement plan draft, as I was sitting with you, working with your goals, I think there's a nice connection and a very nice alignment that way. So hopefully we'll see that, and as you look at the district improvement plan draft, you'll see that what we're doing is right in lockstep with what you've identified as goals that you will keep us in line with. So
That would be
Yep.
terrific.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay. If there's no other comments on school committee goals, we will move on to Martin Angweloff for the fourth quarter budget update, please. Hi, Martin.
Hi, good evening. So this is the end of year report we do every year. And this year, our appropriation at 34,426,997 budget was $1,550,000 higher than last year, and 79% of all expenditures this year were on payroll, which is very typical for us. We fluctuate anywhere between 78 and 82% in different schools. So this year of note, some larger expenses that we were able to do was a purchase of new curriculum from kindergarten to 12, a new math curriculum that cost a little over $98,000, as well as paving. I'm sorry, I have to read this. Location, driveway and walkway to football lacrosse field, which included regrading, and that cost around $78,000. We've had other numerous project purchases of books, supplies, materials, repair and maintenance expenses that were also of note, but they were at lower cost. I just want to note again this year ongoing issue with vandalism in our schools. The number you see there at $75,000 to $80,000 is an approximate number and does not take into consideration all the time that it takes our custodians and staff attending to those issues. So it's a plea on my part as a representation of administration, as a representation of as a parent as well, that hopefully this year these things will stop. It's been 2 years in a row. We've expended substantial amount of money. These are funds that can be used for actual maintenance projects that are much more urgent, or they can be added to payroll and used to hire TAs, teachers, or staff that we obviously need. So that said, that was the part of the for the school. The community school finished with a little over $9,000 surplus, which was a great year for the community school. Revenues were over $208,000, and but 50 of those came as part of the increase in the general fund appropriation, the subsidy that we received from the town, which went from $500,000 to $550,000. Expenses also grew a little over $201,000. Those were mostly contractual obligations, as well as inflationary increases in any supplies, equipments that we ordered, that we've seen happening the past year and a half. The school lunch program this year, for the first time in a while, came with a surplus. So we had a surplus of a little over $14,000, as opposed to the deficit last year of $68,000. I've always expressed gratitude, and I've run out of compliments, but the food service staff does an amazing job. Linda Peterson specifically, and all her staff. She's been understaffed for the majority of time I've been with the district. It was another challenging year for them staffing wise, but they've done a great job, I feel, and they've served over 154,000 lunches and close to 25,000 breakfasts, which was amazing. This year the reimbursement rates were very high. That's why we see this increase in revenues. The reimbursement rate for federal from the federals was $447 for lunch and $226 for breakfast. Now, I know that we have later on in the discussion a vote to increase prices on school lunches and breakfast. This is this year. It's already been approved. We're going to have universal free lunch and breakfast for everybody in the district, and there is actually discussion on the state level that is very advanced to make Massachusetts a permanent universal free lunch state. I think there is three or four other states that have already done that, and Governor Healy has been putting this at the forefront of her priorities. So we'll see whether that gets voted in. Those prices that you see, we've had these discussions with our district manager on the side of Chartwell's, as well as the food service director. It's been a while, at least since 2006. Prices haven't been moved, with the exception of a small increase in the lunch price at the elementary and intermediate school. I think 5 years ago we raised it by 50 cents. Apart from that, the prices have stayed the same. Inflation has picked up. It's very difficult to cover the costs of meals that we serve, so we feel it's appropriate. These prices will be in place for secondary meals that are ordered by the students this year. Obviously, the first one is free, and then for adult meals and staff meals, it's going from $4.50 to $5 is what is proposed for the vote. I actually want to apologize. There is a mistake in the first line of that vote to be taken. The actual breakfast price right now in the elementary and intermediate school is $2.50. So the 50-cent increase is going to be from $2.50 to $3, and everything else is the same. I also want to express special thanks to Sustainable Nantucket. I've met with Ella Potenza, who works tirelessly and communicates between the school and local farms. Bartlett Farm, Folktown Farm, and other farms have been extremely helpful. We have over $7,000 this year of funds that are reimbursable money that are given to us to expand with local farms to get fresh produce, and she has been instrumental in making that connection between the kitchen, obviously the schools, the kitchens, and the farms. And we just met yesterday morning. She has additional $8,000 of funding, so in total roughly $15,000, and she's making a commitment to provide fresh lettuce throughout the school year to the kitchens. So I think this is great. Also, I missed thanking all the organizations that support the community school. Obviously, the Community Foundation for Nantucket, Remain, and Nantucket Golf Foundation, and all the individual donors who contribute to the community school and help offset costs that we try to keep at a low level, an affordable level for the community to participate in these activities. So, if anybody has any questions.
Tim?
Tim?
Chantal?
I have a question about the lunch increases. Great that you guys were able to bring in a surplus of 14,000 plus, with expenses increasing $679.
Yes.
So with those numbers, how do you justify increasing the supplemental or the additional meals?
Now, if we, those numbers are great, but like I said, this year we had a extraordinarily high reimbursement rates at $447 for lunch and $226 for breakfast. I don't anticipate this to be the case next year, so that would be a hit to the program when the reimbursement rates get lower. The other part is, yes, there is a discussion now to make it universally free in perpetuity, but we've pushed very close right now to the cost of a meal being almost equal to the price we charge. So if we ever go back to paid lunches and breakfast, which right now it doesn't seem likely, but if we ever do, I think the program would incur substantial deficit. The other part is the expenses were that low, they increased by that amount only because we were understaffed. Consistently, the school lunch program has been understaffed between 2 and 3 people, and it's been very, very difficult hiring and actually even keeping the employees that we have. So those are the 2 reasons that we looked at for the increases. Again, they go into effect, but they won't affect anybody on a daily basis almost. Like I said, it's going to be a small amount if somebody wants a second slice of pizza or if it's a adult meal. So.
And how are the reimbursement rates determined?
They're determined at the state level, and certain districts qualify for additional funding if they are above 50% free and reduced population, which we still provide as a number to the state. We've hovered around the between 40 and 44% in the past 3 years, so our reimbursement rate is slightly lower. But last year, like I said, they voted an addition to the reimbursement. So our reimbursements actually came in 2 parts. So for instance, for the month of September, usually we get one amount from federal and one from state. Mm-hmm. Last year, because of these additional adjustments, they were coming in 2 pieces. So there was, let's say, $35,000 reimbursement from federal for lunches, and then they'll kick in an additional $11,000. So if that continues and we next year are back here talking about surplus, I don't foresee it, but if it does, then we can take a look again at the prices. But I just felt it's time, because based on the price equity tool, the state gives us a spreadsheet and we enter all the information, and we've gotten very close to actually the cost being almost equal to the price we charge currently.
Gotcha.
If I may, just to be extremely clear, our school lunches are still covered by the state and federal government. Yeah. This is just additional lunches. So if a child wants to have a second lunch, because we have a lot of growing children who need and want to have additional lunches, or if our staff members want to purchase lunches, they would be the ones who, or that would be where they'd be charged.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I get that. Thank you.
Thank you.
It just makes me think, I just made some notes because Laura and I are on the lunch program subcommittee, and I'm looking forward to having our next meeting with our community members. But it'd be interesting to see if Chartwell's, and whether it's up to them or whether it's up to the individual schools, if students are having second lunches, is there a choice in what they can have in their first choice? Because I know there's a lot of waste, and I know that often fruits are discarded and other items, so I'm wondering if there's any leeway that we can allow students to have, I don't know if it's a choice between a piece of fruit and a dessert, which I'm sorry, I know that's not healthy choices, but whether we could eliminate the need for some students to have a second lunch. And I don't know if I'm saying that clearly enough. I know in my mind what I'm thinking. So maybe what I'll do, because I don't want you to have to answer that, we will discuss that in our subcommittee. If Laura understands what I just said, that's good. Because I just think, and I think that the fact that the increase in lunches does not take away or doesn't make us want to work any harder, because we are already focused on this, is the quality of the food
Right.
that is coming out of our cafeteria. And it is not a judgment on our staff or in Linda at all. It's the quality of the food and what we're serving our children. And we know that lunch is, for some, the only meal that they are getting, a full meal for the day. So,
I would love to, I would love to see more involvement of the local farms, specifically Bartley Farm, obviously being the biggest one by far. If we and Ella has done a great job trying to communicate and establish pathways to bring fresh produce. It was challenging throughout COVID times. I spoke numerous times about the supply chain challenges that they faced, Chartwells, and not just Chartwells, everybody across. I reached out to several districts to speak with their business managers when we were discussing our contract with Chartwells, what we want to do, and they said the same thing. A lot of the times, like, and I've spoken about this before, a lot of the times when you order, if you don't check that you accept substitutes, they don't send anything. If they don't have it in supply, they don't send it. So all of a sudden you're short. You have nothing to serve. That's why there were so many menu changes on a daily basis that Linda would communicate in the morning that she's changing around because she doesn't have enough product. The orders that were filled, a lot of the times she even said it herself. The products that arrived was subpar quality. So I'm hopeful that now that we're 2 years clear of COVID and all the restraints that came with it, it will be better. But it's an ongoing challenge, and I'm glad that the subcommittee is addressing it.
If I may, I'm thrilled to have a subcommittee that is looking at this carefully, and I agree that the waste is a problem. We have a challenge in that we have to serve a certain component of the food groups in each meal. So if a child is eating a second lunch, I believe they have to pay for a second lunch and receive all components as a requirement. So that's part of the issue. There is a trade location in each school, I believe, that students can leave something they're not going to have, whether it's an extra milk or a piece of fruit or what have you. But some kids just need to be reminded that if you're not going to eat that, put it there, rather than throw it away. And so that's the challenge. There are some a la carte choices that they can make, but I'm not sure if an actual entree is an a la carte offering. I think that if you're going to get a slice of pizza or a burger or a sandwich or whatever it is that is part of the lunch, you have to get the other pieces as well, which is disappointing because there goes the food waste.
Right.
So.
I'm just curious, because how do you can't judge who is going to be coming in or if a child is going to have another meal. So you're going to have waste just inherently in that, right? So
I believe so, yes.
I mean, I would be, this is obviously something that we care a lot about, which is why we have a subcommittee, but I am curious about that, because how much do you need to provide knowing that it may or may not, last?
If I may, you wouldn't believe how well Linda Peterson, our food services director, understands our population. She is very good at getting down to a very small number of additional lunches that are wasted, because she knows the students. She knows the who is going to come, who's coming back to get, and she also knows the meals that they really want. And so she'll know that on taco day you got to make a lot more.
Right.
On pizza day you got to make a lot more. Chicken patty day, not as much. Things like that. So she really does understand our students and what their needs are, and she uses the data that she sees in the beginning of the school year as things shift and children grow and have different needs. So you'd be surprised at how good she is at really identifying how much people need and how much needs to be prepared. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Esmeralda?
No questions.
No?
all been answered.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you.
Martin.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Martin.
Thank you.
So another discussion that we had at our retreat was to implement a consent agenda moving forward after today's meeting. And so what we agreed to in our discussion was that we see the value of being able to make our agenda consent, which will allow us to accept the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. When we vote on the agenda, it then will incorporate all of the votes that need to be taken at that meeting. For instance, all the gifts or minutes to meetings. And tonight is a perfect example where there are many items that will be individually voted upon. At any point, if any member of the committee wishes to pull a particular item out, they will do that before we vote on the agenda, and then that will be a separate discussion after we've gone through the votes. It's just that we want to spend more time with presentations, and we want to be able to work more on the work that is being done in the schools, and we feel that this could be a way that could help us with a more concise meeting, being respectful of everyone's time. So we're not going to do that tonight because we wanted to make it public beforehand. So anybody else have any questions or comments that after our conversation? Okay, great. This particular vote, I need to read out for the sake of the minutes, and thank you, Martin, for the correction. I would like a motion to recommend an increase of 50 cents from the current $3 to $3.50. No?
No.
No, I did the wrong one, didn't I? $2.50 to $3 of the breakfast price at Nantucket Elementary School and Nantucket Intermediate School, an increase of 50 cents from the current, and it is $3?
$3.
It is $3 to $3.50 of the lunch price at Nantucket Elementary School and Nantucket Intermediate School. An increase of 50 cents from the current $3.50 to $4 of the lunch price at Cyrus Pierce Middle School and Nantucket High School. An increase of 50 cents from the current $4.50 to $5 for adult staff meals. All increases will take effect in the upcoming 2023-2024 school year. May I have an accept?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. May I have a motion to authorize the class of 2027, 2030, 2033, and 2036 student accounts?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the tenant grant award in the amount of $12,500 from Remain Nantucket to Nantucket Community School?
So moved.
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. A vote to approve the donation in the amount of $100 from Inda and Kenneth Vero to the Nantucket High School gift account to benefit the Culinary Arts Department.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. A vote to approve the June 8th Scholarship Subcommittee minute meetings.
So moved.
Second, please. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. A vote to approve the minute meetings of June 20th, 2023. Meeting minutes. What did I say?
Minute meetings.
Minute meetings.
And they're not.
They're not minutes. No.
Move approval.
Thank you. May I have a second
Second.
on the meeting minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'll abstain because I wasn't present at that meeting.
Thank you. The vote to approve the June 29th meeting minutes, 2023.
Move approval.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. May I have an approval for the meeting minutes of July 18th, 2023?
Move approval.
Thank you. May I have a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the transfers and invoices?
So
Move approval.
moved.
Second, please?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Got through that. Thank you for correcting me on that. All right, subcommittee work, any meetings been happening? Anything to,
If I may,
yes, please.
we, as a policy subcommittee subcommittee, we will need to meet in the next 2 to 3 weeks prior to the September 19th school committee meeting. We will be making an adjustment to the policy around student checking accounts. So I will share that information, and we'll be looking specifically at that policy. But we also need to get back into our rotation. There was quite a bit going on last year, and we did not have, 2 of us were involved with the negotiations subcommittee, and that was taking up quite a bit of time. So we will get back to that. So I will be reaching out with some times for us to meet to be able to do that prior to the 19th of September. And I suppose if you would like to share anything about the negotiations subcommittee, unless you'd like me to.
I would like you to.
Okay. We, as has been clear, we came together for mediation after our subcommittee worked with the NTA on contract negotiations, and a tentative agreement was made. And currently, the proposal of that tentative agreement has been submitted and shared with the NTA membership. They are currently going to be voting. Our hope is that the vote goes as planned, and they vote positively, in which case we will be able to vote in the contract next week.
What's the date on that? I mean, is there?
They presented Monday. They have 7 days to complete the vote, so they should know by Monday, September 4th, and we will have our meeting on September 5th.
Great.
For that, so to approve.
Which is a workshop.
Yes. Then in that case, no, we may have to change that then,
Yeah.
or have a
Right.
special meeting and then.
And then
we're done.
also, we have your contract that we need to also.
That will come in there too. So
Yeah,
we'll
okay.
talk about that. I
Okay.
put that in as a possibility. We could also adjourn to workshop after a meeting for voting.
Sounds like a smart idea, doesn't it?
What is the date? I'm just.
It's September 5th.
I'm happy to discuss that situation. So
Yes.
the reason why, as what had come out, if you look at the horizon, what had come out of our retreat is that the school committee enjoys having the opportunity for workshops so that there is more on-the-ground work that can happen at those meetings. So the hope was that we would be able to adjust our September 5th meeting to a possible workshop so that we would be able to dig into the district improvement plan and the superintendent goals. What we could do is we could have a regular meeting with votes to approve and then move into workshop, in which case then we would be able to work on these items. So I will leave that to you to make a decision about.
Jeremy, thoughts?
No, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Chantal?
No thoughts on that, but I'd love to see the diversity subcommittee meet. If there are any notes on previous meetings, obviously it's a different group. I'd love to see those just so I can pick up where we left off. It'd be really helpful.
Be happy to put together a meeting for us to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Who's on with you?
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda. Okay, perfect. Esmeralda, your thoughts on September 5th? Are you okay with owning up as a?
Yeah, that's
okay,
good.
so we can vote, because that would be important to get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's great.
all right, so we'll do that, and then we'll adjourn it and go into a workshop. And we have, for next agenda, so for the community school update summer programs, are you suggesting that is?
You will see on the
September
new,
19th?
yes, excuse me for interrupting, my
Yeah.
apologies. You will see that on proposed changes, which came out just recently. So we plan to, what we'd like to do is then move our summer programs report to September 19th, which you all should have in with the
Oh,
the
because
additional
that would
page.
include the community school.
Nope, the community
No?
school is on October 3rd.
Oh, I see that, okay.
And then our district student checking account, the policy change would be on the
Gotcha.
19th. And then our advanced placement programs would move to the 3rd.
Okay. That's good with everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Anything else for discussion to bring up? No?
How about the collaborative? Have you met with the collaborative at all?
No, there have not been any meetings.
Okay.
They will have, I'm sure we'll reconvene.
Okay.
Chantal's going to be my second on that, because with rehearsals, I sometimes have to miss. So they will start up, I would say, soon.
If I may.
Yes.
Through the chair. A reminder to the committee that we would love to know if you'd be interested in attending the joint MASC-MASS conference, which occurs the first weekend in November. The earlier we are able to know who would like to attend, the quicker we can get hotel reservations and registrations taken care of. It is a very valuable conference and provides not only training for new school committee members, but also great collaborative opportunities with superintendents and school committee members together to be able to do some really great work and sessions. So I hope as many as
I
possible.
know
could
you sent
attend.
that to, do you have the dates on the top of your head?
It's
Like
I-
early November?
it's always the first weekend.
Oh,
It's
okay.
usually Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah.
And Saturday is often a student day. So
Right.
Thursday and Friday are really the key days. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that reminder.
So it's a full day Thursday, full day Friday, and then Saturday is,
Thursday is usually a half day afternoon,
okay.
and then Friday is a full day, and then Saturday is focus is student based in the morning. So
But if you can't go
Yeah.
Thursday night, you can go Friday morning and
Right.
do the whole day Friday and then come back if that, it's flexible.
Okay. I would like
But
to.
I echo the it's good also for us to spend some time
I know.
listening and hearing, what's going on in other districts and just having time together. Not that this isn't lovely, but it's different. Right, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, please. All in favor? Thank you, everybody. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, it's always in the middle of the process for me, but depending on, I might have an assistant.